Live on Joy 99.7 FM, this is the Midday News. The news is also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. We are on affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. We are on Kekeli Radio in Ho, ATL FM and Castle FM in Cape Coast. We are on Kaliawe FM in Nakachi and Jubilee Radio in Keta. The Midday News is also live on X Spaces, Facebook, myjoyonline.com. The Midday News is sponsored by Petrol Sol. Your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrol Sol is always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duroplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank. Where Duroplus goes, water flows. This afternoon, payday is here for government workers, but no pay for CTAG members as their employers make good threats to withhold their August salaries for no work done, despite their argument that their strike is legal.
This August, I've not received any salary. This one, it's only God who will see me through.
So now we are looking at alternative ways in which we can get money to be able to survive.
We'll get to hear from some shocked members who are hoping that Wednesday's meeting with the NLC will right the anomaly. Also in our second part of our Forest Under Siege series, Arocha Ghana questions reclamation of lands degraded by illegal miners.
Business persons, they've gone into our forest reserves, mined it for gold, traded it, kept the profit for themselves. And the public is going to pay for a loan that is now going to be used to reclaim the mess of some businesses. It's not fair.
Also, General Secretary of the NPP says the party will be firm in handing down sanctions to erring members, including presidential aspirant Kennedy Ohinie Japong, hold before the disciplinary committee as he insists there will be anarchy if the party's regulations are not respected.
We should be seen to be fair, very neutral, unbiased, and also take decisions that will be in the supreme interest of the party.
We have sports.
Ghana Football Association election timetable put on hold due to court injunction.
And much later, Judicial Service staff of Ghana condemns what it describes as the unlawful invasion of the premises of the Tamale District Court by some residents in the area.
Members are afraid now because of this incident. In fact, this is not just the first time. Just last week or so, same incident happened at Kaneti.
We have that and more in this afternoon's edition of the Midday News. I am Emefa Apawu, and this is your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Please do stay on for details. Many thanks for your company. Let's settle down now for the details. Many government workers are smiling all the way to the bank for their August salaries, but that's not the case for CTAG members. We're told they've been engaging their banks and they woke up to the harsh reality that their August salaries had not been credited. Well, government has made good the promise or the threat to actually withhold their salaries for being on strike in spite of the pleas for them to head back to the classrooms. The situation has left many members frustrated and bewildered. The Education Ministry's PRO Kwesi Kwarteng earlier indicated that the striking teachers do not deserve their salaries due to their work hiatus in August.
Because what controller told Ministry of Education is that if indeed they want to effect the payment as at just last July, it was not going to be possible. What essentially means is that they will have to sacrifice the entire payment structure for all civil servants in Ghana, maybe at the altar of the 2,000 employees that we may want to factor. So it was resolved that I guess they make the payment. And of course, the payment was going to take into account all outstanding arrears or our outstanding negotiations. CTAG said no. So what Ministry of Education is saying is that, well, in the month of August, you did not go to work. You did not work. Even against the National Labour Commission telling you that since all you are looking for has been agreed upon and has actually been approved and payment is scheduled for next month, you have to go to work. CTAG said no. But I mean, you know that CTAG, just like most of these colleges of education, it's just like an industrial hub. You work to produce output and then we use that money to pay you. If you do not go to work, the fundamental question that we have to ask ourselves is that where do we get money to pay you?
Well, the employer indeed has not paid CTAG members for the month of August. So we've been hearing from some of CTAG members and they are grappling with the uncertainty, contemplating how to provide for their families. Some of them have been speaking to join us.
This August, I've not received any salary. It's a blow because one, we didn't expect that to happen. And no, most teachers depend on the salary. A few of the teachers that have other source of income. In fact, this one, Only God who will see me through. So even I have to even go and then surrender my policies to support myself. Because I don't know how long this will take, and I can't leave, and I have school going children. Next month or two, one will be going to SS. So you can imagine.
In fact, it has a negative impact on us because, as my colleague said, most of us depends on our salary to be able to run our families for the month. So now we are looking at alternative ways in which we can get money to be able to survive. The thing is that now we have resolved that until all the arbitral awards are implemented, we are not going back to the classroom. In the sense that the strike that we've embarked on is a legal one.
Well, the members are hopeful that the upcoming NLC meeting on Wednesday with CTAC's leadership will bring an end to this particular situation. Fidelis Kamaye is the chairman of the CTAC Accra branch. Thankfully joins us on the line. We are grateful for your time here on the Midday News. Are you as surprised as your members that indeed government made good its promise not to pay you August salaries?
Yeah, we are very much surprised because we are on a legal strike, and once you're on a legal strike, there is no law that says that when you're on legal strike, your salary should not be paid. So this came as a surprise to us. But that notwithstanding, we have resolved that the fight in which we have started, we'll fight till we get to the end of the tunnel.
I'm wondering, how are you going to cope without August salaries? It's as hard as it is right now as we speak.
Yeah, some of us, we have spouses who are working, so we are going to depend on their meager income. And some of us do have some insurance policies. We're going to discount them, and some other insurances and investment that we have. We're going to discount all of them and see how best we can live on them.
And how long are you able to depend on your spouses on their salaries for you to survive? Because government says until you call it off, they will continue to withhold your salaries.
Yeah, until all the arbitral awards are implemented, we are not calling it off. So if it warrants that we look for alternative means to survive, we are going to do. If we're going to get meager jobs or other teaching appointments somewhere, we are ready to go and do it to survive.
And as leadership, it looks like you have alternative. How about the ordinary members of CTAC? We've heard some of them, how it will be a struggle for them to survive. Really, how are you hoping to resolve this? Will Wednesday's meeting be the way forward out of this?
Yes, please. We are looking up to what the outcome of Wednesday's meeting would be. If they're able to implement all the 5 arbitral awards, then council will take a decision as to whether to call it off or to continue. So it depends on what will happen on Wednesday, tomorrow. As I speak with you now, our national executives are on their way to Accra to attend tomorrow's meeting.
And are you hopeful that the ordinary member of CTAC will still stay with you as leadership in terms of your resolve?
Yes, please, because if you come to our various platforms, they have so much agitated that they are even saying that we shouldn't call the strike off. That is the cry of most of the members of CTAC.
Well, we'll follow this particular situation closely. Fidelis Kamaya, thank you so much for your time. He's the chairman of the CTAC Accra branch. So that's the situation. Many of them are heading to the banks and receiving the shocking news that indeed government made good on their promise not to pay them their August salaries for not doing any work during that period. Let's turn our attention to politics now. And the General Secretary of the governing NPP, Justin Frimpong-Kodia, says the party has a unique opportunity to be firm and uncompromising in enforcing rules governing the conduct of its members, with the holding of some erring members before the disciplinary committee of the party. Presidential aspirant Kennedy Jepong, a leading member of the Alan Chemantin campaign team, Hobson Adoye, and 3 others are expected to open their defense on charges leveled against them today. They face suspension or expulsion from the party if found guilty. Justin Kodia tells my colleague Blessed Soga the party will be firm in dealing with the issues before them.
That the party is governed by rules and regulations. And that's why everywhere I go, I carry the party constitution with me. And nobody is above the party constitution. We are all in the NPP because of this constitution. And therefore, as implementers of the provision in the constitution, we should be seen to be fair, very neutral, unbiased, and also take decisions that will be in the supreme interest of the party. And for instance, you can't have it 100%. So far as elections in Ghana, everywhere is concerned, there will always be isolated cases. People trying to flout the rules, people trying to even engage in certain acts which are crime, which are criminal in its nature. Certain things that happened. There were some comments, some altercations, some issues that happened, which we saw on social media and also from various video evidence that we got, which the party was very proactive to issue a statement to that effect, and also to refer to those personalities who were captured in the video to the disciplinary committee. The elections committee had reps in all the 17 polling centers, and their reps are supposed to send their report to the elections committee. So whichever issues that came up during the process will be brought to the elections committee. The election committee will analyze it and bring it to the national party, where they have to be instigation of disciplinary action to some people or personalities. The party will do so without fear or favor.
I see. Would that include some of the presidential aspirants who've gone out on social media to make comments against leading members of the party?
Well, for what I know is they're all members of the party, and I don't want to segregate it into individual positions or whether they're aspirant or not. So far as you're a member of this party, you are supposed to work within the remit of the constitution.
That's the General Secretary of the NPP, Justin Frimpong Kodua. Now, the National Council of the party is also, meanwhile, expected to meet on this weekend Super Delegates Conference run off between Francis Adenimo and Boachi Jako. Justin Kodua is hopeful the impasse will be resolved after the meeting. Nobody
prepared for a runoff in elections, but it's a possibility. If we look at the NPP Constitution, Article 13(1)(9), it talks about selecting five contestants, but it didn't make provision for in case there is a tie. But also, Article 18 gives room to the party National Council to make rules and regulations to fill in the gap should there be in the Constitution. So, fortunately for us, the National Council is meeting under an emergency meeting to look at it.
Well, that's the General Secretary of the party. Let me take you live to the party's headquarters. A lot is happening right now. We're told the presentation of report by some observers recruited by the NPP to monitor last weekend's Super Delegates Congress, actually presenting a report to them. My colleague Samuel Imbura is at the NPP headquarters, joins us on the line. Samuel, we'll talk about this particular monitors and their meeting, but we know that all 10 aspirants are expected to meet the election committee of the party this afternoon. Tell us more.
So, Emefa, the meeting is going to offer them the opportunity to raise their concerns on what went wrong during the election process. And also, those who have evidence of wrongdoing will have to submit or tender in their evidence for the committee to take or look at it and then take further actions on it. So, the aspirants are not here yet. I've spoken to a couple of them. They say they are on their way coming. But the General Secretary has been here for the past 2 hours, and other committee members of the election are also here waiting for the aspirants to arrive for that meeting to comment.
Well, knowing that all 10 aspirants will be meeting the party and what we heard and what we've seen over the weekend, how is the party hoping to deal with a possible showdown?
Well, it depends on the evidence or the responses or concerns from the aspirants that will appear before them. But earlier yesterday I picked information that those who are claiming that there were misconduct and vote buying or whatsoever the accusations, they will have to prove them today. I am told that Kennedy Ejapon has a written petition and some evidence that he would want to tender before the committee, and then they'll be speaking to specifically those who raised concerns, especially in the camps of Alan and Kennedy in Japan, who had issues in the course of the elections and all. So we are still waiting for details of that to pan out. But as it stands now, we do not know the direct or the specifics in which the meeting is going to stand on.
Okay. Now, how about the earlier meeting between observers and the party? What are we learning from that meeting?
Well, details from that meeting are yet to emerge. And we are pitching camp within the premises of the MPP. And when that information is divulged, we'll definitely share with our listeners.
Thank you very much. That's my colleague Samuel Imbura there from the NPP's headquarters. Meanwhile, the bid by Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to lead the NPP is likely to hit a snag in the November Congress, although he secured overwhelming vote of over 68% in the Super Delegates election, placing him first on the list. Political scientist at the University of Ghana, Dr. Asa Asante, says the Vice President has more work to do because politics is full of surprises.
Anything can happen. The five, each one of them is capable of winning. And it depends on a number of factors. How well you coordinate your activities, how well you churn out your messages and try to make sure that it resonates with the people, how well you are in terms of your ability to articulate clearly your policies and programs and the rest of them.
But campaign spokesperson for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Nana Akomia, insists it will be impossible for the gap to be closed by any of the aspirants.
The dynamics may change, but the dynamics would change in better favor of Bawumia. Because when you look at the scale of his victory, the margins are so wide that it's virtually impossible for the other colleagues to cross that margin. These are not close margins. There are 10 of them. 10. If you added the votes of the 9, the total votes is less than half of what Bawumia got. That is what you have. If Bawumia had gotten 45% and the second person had gotten 33%, the third person had gotten 31%, then you could say if all of those groups come together. But if you tallied up their votes, it still doesn't amount to half.
Well, so that's Nana Akomia there. Meanwhile, Alan Chemanting, who was tipped to be the main contender of the vice president of the particular, Congress, who placed third. Yabu Abiyan-Samoa, spokesperson for his campaign team, said their main aim was to be part of the first 5 to go for the Congress.
I mean, in 2014, there was a lot of pressure on Mr. Chemanting not to run at all, just to allow Nana to go ahead. So some even say that he didn't respond and decided to run meant that then the party was determined to tell him that he shouldn't have because they wanted Nanado to have a crack at it. So that line is not because Chemanting declined in popularity. It was because the party was determined to consolidate support behind Nanado unequivocally.
That's Yabu Abiyan-Samoa there speaking on PM Express last night. Now, away from politics, the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana, JUSAG, has condemned the unlawful invasion of the premises of the Tamale District Court by some residents in the area. The Tamale District Court was attacked yesterday when some residents trooped into the premises in large numbers and pelted the court with stones, destroying fixtures and injuring a police officer and taking away his rifle as well. This led to an exchange of gunfire between the police and the irate youth. The youth besieged the court, claiming to ensure that a drug peddler who had been causing destruction to the lives of the youth through his business was adequately prosecuted. Well, President of JUSAG, Samuel Afoteotu, says the attacks are becoming too many.
Members are afraid now because of this incident. In fact, this is not just the first time. Just last week or so, same incident happened at Kadeti when a suspect was put in a police vehicle. The members or the supporters of the particular suspect were forcing to push that person out, pull him out of the car. And this is becoming rampant these days. So what we are trying to do is we want management and then the police service, especially the IGP, to reinforce their security mechanisms, especially when there is such criminal matters pending before the court. We want them to maybe put in more police officers.
Let me bring in our Northern Regional correspondent, Martina Bugui, monitoring the situation for us. Martina, we understand the IGP sent some senior police officers to investigate the issue. What exactly are we learning?
What we do know is that the discussions is centering on what happened yesterday. Even the police are lip-tight and will not give information on what they discussed at the meeting. We also know that a team led by chiefs in the area met with the IGP's team to demand the release of the 13 people who were arrested and this dawn remanded in custody. What we got from the chiefs is that the 13 people who were arrested were sent to court this morning at 5 o'clock and they were remanded. The people are saying that they should release them and they're finding an amicable solution to the tension that is rising in the area. Currently, we are told that RECSEC is also holding a meeting to deliberate on the happenings that is currently taking place in the Tamale metropolis. Whilst we speak, there are some youth who have gathered at one of the palaces. Motorbikes were seized. Some people were injured. Some are here with at the palace there. Now, what they are asking is that there are members who were picked up and remanded be released.
Well, do we know if the court is sitting today? And I suppose security will be beefed up.
Yes, I was at the court premises this morning. I spoke to the GSAC regional chairperson, and all she said was that their national had issued a statement, but all she would add is that they will not let a few unscrupulous people deter them from honoring their duties. And so they were there, the court had opened, they were holding series of meetings ahead of court sitting this morning. I went to the hospital as well. The man who was operated upon yesterday, I saw him at the ward, even though the hospital authorities say they need clearance and their protocols addressed before I would allow to speak to him. I saw him handcuffed to his bed whilst he laid in the bed.
Fantastic updates there. Thank you very much, Martina Bugri. Taking us on a quick break here on the Midday News, sponsored by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol is always a delightful experience. Also brought to you by Duraplus Ghana Limited, producers of quality PVC and HDPE pipes and water tank. Where Duraplus goes, water flows. We've been hearing that it's payday for government workers, but no pay for CTAC members, as their employers make good threat to withhold their August salaries for no work done, despite the argument that their strike is legal. We return from the break with sports, and then we get into the second part of our Forest and the Siege series. Arocha Ghana is questioning reclamation of lands degraded by illegal miners.
Business persons, they've gone into our forest reserves, mined it for gold, traded it, kept the profit for themselves. And the public is going to pay for a loan that is now going to be used to reclaim the mess of some businesses. It's not fair.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a Petrosol station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
Thanks for staying with us. Time for sports. Danny, are you a hammer now?
Of course.
Oh, you are? Okay. Join us then.
Let's go straight into the stories. And the Ghana Football Association has announced its election timetable has been put on hold. This is after Division 1 League club King Faisal moved a motion for injunction at the Accra High Court. King Faisal argued that according to the GFA statutes, a legitimate Congress cannot convene to elect the GFA president until new members of the executive committee have been duly elected. Therefore, they are appealing to the court to stop the GFA from holding the presidential election on September 27 until the necessary elections for representatives from the National League Clubs, Regional Football Association and other constituent bodies have been properly carried out. Elsewhere, Manchester United goalkeeper Andre Onana has made a return to Cameroon's squad for their final 2023 AFCON qualifier against Burundi. This is after a dispute with the indomitable Lions head coach Rigobert Song at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar last December. Onana has not featured for Cameroon since then. The misunderstanding was reportedly over the former Ajax goalkeeper's style of play. It is yet to see if Onana will honor the call-up. And that's all for sports. Back to you, Emefa.
Thank you very much, Danny the Hammer. Now, environmental conservation organization Arocha Ghana is questioning why institutions like the World Bank will continue to fund the reclamation of lands devastated by illegal miners at the expense of the ordinary taxpayer. Joy News checks indicates more destruction of forests in 2022 and 2023, though the country has secured $103 million from the World Bank to reclaim lands destroyed by illegal mining. Arocha Ghana describes as unfair how how the Ghanaian whose land and water have been polluted is made to pay for the continuous destruction of the nation's resources. Deputy National Director of the organization, Darrell Bosu, spoke to Erastus Asari Donko in his upcoming documentary, Forests Under Siege.
Think of Ghana's forest as a pair of lungs or kidneys, cleaning our air and water, regulating rainfall, sunshine, and serving as a buffer against natural disasters. The country's kidneys and lungs are currently being attacked and perforated at a faster rate by illegal mining. Global Forest Watch data indicates that between 2001 and 2021, trees sitting on 1.41 million hectares of land were destroyed across Ghana. The destruction of tree cover is equivalent to about half the size of the entire Ashanti region, which is about 2.4 million hectares.
Indeed, this is the largest. In fact, I don't even know how to start and how to end. I'm even shocked seeing the ground like this. The largest so far.
Forests degraded, water sources polluted, and the attendant change in climatic conditions have affected farming.
It is the forest that gives farmers in this area rain to farm. But now, if God doesn't intervene, we will not have the rains to grow our crops.
Many of these farmers have had their source of livelihood destroyed by the mining of this forest. But their taxes will pay for the $103 million contracted to reclaim the devastation. Environmental conservation organization Arocha Ghana has a problem with that.
Sometimes I ask myself, why does even the World Bank even support such initiatives or push those initiatives before us?
Now, today on our Stories of Hope, we take you to the vibrant streets of Accra, where two friends turned adversity into triumph, transforming their passions into thriving businesses. Emmanuel Tay and Emmanuel Chemanting, who, despite facing the challenges of job loss during the banking sector shakeup, have emerged as shining examples of determination. The following report delves into their inspiring journeys.
Hello. Yes, Quick Rent Africa, Emmanuel here.
I listen to a lot of entrepreneurs.
In the heart of Accra, these two gentlemen have turned their passions into thriving businesses. Emmanuel Tai, 32, is helping a client find a rented apartment, and his friend Emmanuel Chemanting now constructs aquariums for homes and offices. But it wasn't all rosy 5 years ago, when these two were laid off their jobs.
Sources close to the Bank of Ghana indicate that the bank was forced to take the action.
To the government, it was a banking sector cleanup, but to employees, it was an unemployment crisis. Many employees went to bed and woke up the next day without a job. Tai was a victim of the restructuring and unexpectedly lost his position as an accounting manager at Beige Bank after 5 years. He said it was one of the lowest moments in his life.
So first of all, I lost my livelihood. I lost my lifestyle. You had a certain lifestyle. Imagine someone who was earning something little at the end of the month, and then all of a sudden I have to be home, and the idea of not having a job to go to itself became a bit depressing.
Just about the same time, Chemanting experienced the same predicament, and right from the breadwinner of his home, he started depending on his parents for handouts.
I was a field sale officer. As we go out and we speak to prospects on loans, we give out loans. So mostly I was on the field. Okay, so we can speak to the clients, okay, but taking back, once we give the loan, taking back is the problem. So I have to be laid off.
He began working menial jobs just to survive. However, unknown to them, these two were about to embark on remarkable journeys that would change their lives.
And take action to deal with terrorist groups moving from the Sahel to the Gulf of Guinea. These are the words of President Akufo-Addo as he tasked maritime security chiefs and other stakeholders to stop the threat. He's been speaking at the 2023 International Maritime Defense and Exhibition Conference.
I must stress the need for multifaceted technological approach to deny unauthorized use of the underwater, surface, and above water resources by criminals and economic saboteurs. Government recognizes the need for a well-resourced and technologically advanced Navy. We've thus commenced the equipping of the Navy with drones, coastal radars, and real-time surveillance and tracking protocols.
My colleague Maxwell Agbagba is there for us. Maxwell, what more is coming up at this conference?
Well, Emefa, I've been speaking to the Deputy Defense Minister. We know the Defense Minister has been pumping a lot of resources into dealing with the threats of terrorism spilling down from the Sahel to West African coastal states. The Deputy Defense Minister, Kofi Amankwame, says the threat does not only exist inland, but on sea too. He says Gulf of Guinea countries, including Ghana, are collaborating on how to effectively quell these threats.
So on sea also the threat is very real because we have a lot of pirates on the Gulf of Guinea. But thank God all the countries along the Gulf of Guinea are now collaborating efficiently and effectively to deal with this issue. I mean, it is the more reason why.
And that's how we wrap up today's edition of the Midday News. I am Emefa Apawu. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com. In Kwetia Press BSHS Assistant Headmaster relieved of his duties for slapping student. That and more as top stories on myjoyonline.com. We have Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil up next. Have a good afternoon.